and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Okay, I'll start right now.
Nein, das ist nicht werbefreundlich.
Alright, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
Mew, I can't hold it up anymore.
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter since anyone could have done it. Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Also in dem Teil halten sich aber echt nicht zurück mit solchen Aussagen.
Cum dumpster! Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
Okay, Mew, go to horny jail. Bonk.
What should we talk about now?
Irgendwer von mir aus redet übers Wetter.
We must focus not on the locked room, but on who entered Angie's lab. Only one of the student council members or Kokichi could have gained entry. Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi, Gonta, Kibo, and Kokichi.
Ich meine, rein theoretisch könnte auch irgendjemand dahin gegangen sein und gesagt haben, ey, yo, irgendwie, ich möchte dem Student Council beitreten.
Don't forget Himiko. She's also a part of the student council. Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function.
It's fine. That's just a waste of time.
Me? A suspect? I never kill Angie!
So, calling all suspects, what should we discuss next? I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the suspect list?
Why are you trying to lead the debate? You're a suspect too.
Irgendjemand muss es ja tun.
Silence, outsider. Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
We might catch them with their pants down!
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers. What should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your innocence?
They don't trust you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting...
Why did Tenko have to die?
Huh?
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but... Can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
What do you mean?
The 2 victims could have been killed by 2 separate murderers, you know. So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim. We've got to figure out who killed Angie. Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless. Did you suggest that to waste our time?
It's not meaningless!
Himiko?
Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you! Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her? Himiko...
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS. You didn't give 2 shits about Tenko when she was alive. But now you're like, oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
Kokichi, enough!
Hat nicht Unrecht.
No. It's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that. I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko. work things out with her while she was still alive. But now, it's too late. I can't complain to her or thank her. It's too late.
Yeah, seriously! It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. All right. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is Death Curse. I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Ja, doch, schon.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Going to want to know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Kaito.
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious.
Tancrotch!
The people who attended the seance. Ich kann das immer noch nicht so ganz machen, so ganz richtig mit der... Nein, nach oben. Nein, nach oben. Hier. Das waren die richtigen. Ja, irgendwie, es hängt ein bisschen. Ich weiß nicht, woran es liegt.
Me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this. Very well. I shall begin the preparations at once.
Oh, right.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
A point of entry from outside? He must be referring to... Ja. Entweder meint er das Loch hier vorne oder das da hinten. Ich bin fast auf das da hinten tippen, oder?
There!
Ja, okay. Ich hätte aber ehrlich gesagt beides durchgehen
You're talking
lassen.
about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person could move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Ah, jetzt bin ich mal gespannt, was er vorträgt.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain...
Ja, okay, ja, stimmt, ist keine...
I
ja,
was
okay.
wrong!
War keine
The
Lüge.
culprit
Ich hab schon
sneaked in
verstanden.
during...
By crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark under the floor.
You
See, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Wie soll er so seinen Taschenlampe benutzen, um... Jetzt wieder a little light to move around on the floor, but is that possible?
The
Nein, weil
culprit
du es halt
sneaked in
gesehen
during the
hättest.
seance by crawling under the floor.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light. Light? You mean candle? I mean,
Kibo's
flashlight function.
Huh?
Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor.
Was? Huh? It's cramped under the floor. Ja.
Oh no!
Schon,
The culprit
aber...
sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
Dark place with no light.
But it was pitch black during the seance.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh?
Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor.
Okay.
I was wrong! The culprit
Sneaked in during the seance. By crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light. Light? You mean candle? I mean,
Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold
hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor
Was?
and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
Ja, das
I said
stimmt
hold on a
soweit.
second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Right on the floor. But is that
The
possible?
culprit sneaked in during the seance
Ja,
by crawling up.
also natürlich ist das möglich. Oh, in the corner.
Under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance.
Ja.
How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor
Was?
and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said, hold on a second.
Under the floor,
He used his
yeah?
robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second!
It is true that with a little light you could move around under the floor. But is that possible? Eigentlich nicht, weil du das Licht ja da oben sehen müsstest. Da ist ja ein Loch an der Seite und sobald in einem dunklen Raum du dort ein Licht hättest, würde es doch man würde es doch sehen. Aber ich weiß nicht, wie ich das da...
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
Also ich habe Hole in the Corner. Ja, ich würde mit Hole in the Corner irgendwo probieren.
Crawling under the floor.
Ja.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see,
Ja, okay, das ist es.
That's wrong!
Da muss es anbringen. Ja, genau, okay.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Das hätten wir aber wiederum auch gesehen.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Okay, da erinnere ich mich gerade nicht dran an den Mord. Wer da mit der Farbe beschmiert wurde. Im zweiten Teil... Ah, ich erinnere mich gerade nicht dran.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
we shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
Das wäre auch noch praktisch zu
When?
wissen.
So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
Ich glaube einfach, sie wurde kurz nach dem letzten Satz wurde sie getötet, glaube ich.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Danke, Mio, für deinen sehr hilfreichen Redebeitrag.
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Ich meine, wir haben noch das Geräusch, was wir da gehört haben.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
Das stimmt soweit.
She was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no down!
With Tenko not being killed during the seance, that might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed,
Ich glaube, es war einfach eine
it
Dog
wasn't
Statue.
during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
Das stimmt soweit.
And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
Was? Nee, warte, muss ich woanders anbringen. Das kann nicht sein, weil an dem Laken ist Blut. Das heißt, sie muss getötet werden, bevor der Vorhang entfernt wurde. Das stimmt soweit.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Das passt so nicht. So, perfekt.
That's wrong.
Richtige Argumentation, falscher Punkt.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
Du hast was ganz, ganz anderes Gefühl, glaube ich. Aber definitiv kein Geistesblitz oder sonst was.
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here! No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Ja, sehr gut. Vielleicht kriegst du irgendwie eine Gehirnblutung und stirbst daran. Das war ja Rebuttal, oder? Krieg ich wenigstens die Controls.
Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tango through the cage! They stuck the thin blade through the gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gap. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the... And that's none other than Kyo! The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo!
Ich glaube, das mit dem Markerstone müsste dahin
If you
passen.
stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'll cut through your words! Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
Der springt doch auch voll drauf ein, ich find's super.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible!
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that! Screw spirits!
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tango? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tango?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
Und was halt durchaus sein könnte, ist, dass dieses eine, ja, dieser Support, der durchgetrennt war, als sie sich mit ihrem Gewicht draufgelegt hat, ist sie möglicherweise nach vorne gerutscht und die Sichel war da schon in Position. Dann muss der Culprit nur noch die Sichel rausziehen, Tenko wieder halbwegs nach oben drücken und könnte dann abhauen.
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
Was? Wie soll er das denn machen?
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance!
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I
noticed.
agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The day she's referring to. Was muss ich hier machen? They could have killed her and did. Wait, what? Who could have killed Tenko from inside the cage? Ich kann 3 auswählen. Ja, theoretisch. Er? At any time. Was?
Oh no!
Ich weiß nicht, wer... Also, alle, die an der Seance beteiligt waren. Oder? Tenko kann sich selbst gekillt haben. Day. Wie meint er denn mit Day? Day could have killed... Ich weiß es nicht. Who could have killed her from inside the cage?
Damn it!
Ich weiß nicht, wen sie meint. Wer könnte Himiko zu jeder Zeit im Käfig getötet haben? Ja. Day. Ich weiß nicht, was er... Wer könnte Tenko zu jeder Zeit getötet haben? Ich weiß es nicht. Wer denn? Wer könnte Tenko zu jeder Zeit im Käfig getötet haben? Anscheinend ja nicht die Mitglieder der Seance. Ich hätte ja gesagt, jetzt jeder, der nicht im Raum ist.
I was wrong! Oh no!
Ich weiß es nicht.
I was wrong!
Ich weiß nicht, wen sie meint. Es tut mir leid, ich komme gerade nicht drauf. Wen meint sie mit sie? Jeder, der nicht im Raum ist eigentlich. Ich gehe jetzt einfach alle durch. Ja, da hab ich ihn wohl getötet.
I was wrong!
Wer denn? Ich komme nicht drauf.
Oh no!
Ich komme nicht drauf. Ich weiß nicht, was sie von mir will. Ich meine, Tenko könnte sich jederzeit selbst töten.
Damn it!
Ach, darauf will sie hinaus, oder? Wow.
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.